You might recognize different charts in WPS Spreadsheet from the last lesson. Only suitable charts can accurately illustrate the relation between data. The most frequently used column charts include the popular clustered columns, stacked columns, and 100% stacked columns. This lesson will tell you their differences and uses. 1. Clustered columns. This table records a company's sales in different areas. Let's create a simple column chart. Select the data and click Chart in the Insert tab. Select Clustered Column in the pop-up dialog. You can also find many fancy chart styles available for free to WPS Premium subscribers. Select a normal style and click Use to create a basic column chart. Move it to an appropriate place and adjust its size. Column charts excel in comparing data discrepancies, but they do not serve for too many data series. In this case, the chart shows the sales for 9 cities in 4 quarters. We can get dazzled when comparing data. The following methods might help us to fix the problems. 1. Add data labels. Select the column chart and click the first shortcut button and check Data Labels. Related data will now show up at the top of each column, but the chart is unappealing because all displayed numbers are all crammed together. We need to rearrange the data labels. Click the triangle icon at the back and select More Options to pop up a right pane. Click Size and Properties and Alignment to arrange data labels at Text Direction. We select Rotate All Text 270 degrees to match reading habits. We can change left margin to adjust the distance between columns and data labels. Next, select columns in other colors one by one and set their labels as Rotate All Text 270 degrees. 2. Adjust grid lines. The default grid lines might seem redundant once data labels are added. Instead of removing them, we have another plan. Select the chart and click the first shortcut button. Click the triangle icon, uncheck Primary Major Horizontal, and check Primary Major Vertical to beautify the chart. Sales are divided by the city orderly. 3. Set series. There are distances between each column by default. Right-click any column and select Format Chart Area on the right to pop up a dialog. Select Series, and you can adjust the overlap degree at Series Overlap and column gap at Gap Width. We set Series Overlap to 0% to ensure that data bars from the same city are near and without gaps. Let's set Gap Width to 350%. The smaller the percentage, the closer the distance between columns and the wider the columns. After setting, the data is clearer. 4. Customize the y-axis. Did you find a big problem in this chart? The column chart shows the difference in data with different heights. In this case, however, some columns are of the same height, which is not intuitive. We want to highlight the column differences without changing the source data. What should we do? The answer lies at the starting point of the ordinate. The total sales of all cities exceed 2 million, so the ordinate can begin at 200. Click the ordinate and select Axis in the Options box on the right. At Axis Options, we can set the minimum and maximum values of bounds. We set the minimum to 200 and leave the maximum value unchanged. Now, the differences between columns are obvious. Changes at the starting point can make differences to the same data. So far, we have customized the chart. Finally, let's add a title to clarify the topic. Then press Delete to remove the unwanted axis. It's easy to restore it. Click the first shortcut key on the right, check Axis, and you can reset the horizontal and vertical axis. If you don't like the default chart color, you can change it by clicking the Change Color button above. Hundreds of built-in styles are available here. We can also customize the color in the right pane. Select a column, click Fill in Line, and then you can choose a color you like at Color. Some websites contain color schemes from which you can choose. You can use the eyedropper to apply the color. The above approaches are essential for making an appealing chart. Once a chart is made, we should work to highlight data by adding vertical grid lines, data series, and other elements. We can also highlight data by setting data labels and adjusting the starting point of the y-axis. Finally, we should remove the redundancies if the existing elements can illustrate clearly. These guidelines should be followed in all charts. Okay, now we can move to the second case, stacked columns. They're ideal for demonstrating the connection between one project and the whole. It can intuitively show the containment relationship in categories and the proportion of each. This table records the personal expenditure in the first half of 2022. Stacked columns can record different kinds of expenses. Select the data area except for the total column. Click Chart in the Insert tab and click Stacked Column to insert it. Now, month, housing, beauty and hair, food, and other labels are listed on the x-axis. This is not what we want. We want the data to display by month. We want to know the total spending for January and February and group them to compare the data for 6 months. It's easy to solve it. Select the chart and click the Chart Tools tab. This tab can only be found when a chart is selected. Click Switch Row Column to transpose columns and rows. Now the chart is displayed as we set. Rectangles of different colors represent different expenses, but they are stacked irregularly. Let's arrange those major expenditures together to interpret the data easier. Click Select Data, then you can arrange the data series in the pop-up dialog. We can select food in the left list and move its place to move up. The higher in the list, the closer it is to the x-axis in the chart. Finally, you can add data labels to clarify the data. Go to the upper ribbon, click Add Chart Element, and put the data labels in the middle. We can also add trend lines to catch the data changes at a glance. Click Add Chart Element again, click Lines, and select Series Lines. Obviously, the chart does not look nice right now, because data labels and the data series are a dark color. We may alter the data label's color to white. How can we set it faster? Here's a trick. As you can see, this image has numerous sets of data labels, and setting them one by one is inefficient. We may first choose the entire chart, then click Text Tools, click Text Fill, and select White. As a result, all text in the chart turn white. Next, we click the drop-down menu and fill the x-axis in black, and fill the y-axis in black, which are quite similar to stacked columns. The main difference is that each column has the same height and reflects a percentage of the total. Let's copy and paste the stacked column chart. Select the copied chart and click Change Chart Type in the above ribbon to switch it to the 100% stacked column. Thus, the chart highlights the data's proportion relationship. Some students may ask whether it's possible to set data labels as percentages since it's more intuitive. Good idea. Let's see how we can do it. First, select any group of the data label. Click Label in the right pane. Then you can set its style at Data Label Options, such as adding the series name, category name, and so on. There is no option to change them to percentages. How about going to the Number menu? You'll get disappointed when trying. Here's how we do it. 1. Add a row in the source data, then enter a formula to get the percentages. 2. Then select the data labels and check Value from Cells on the right pane. Select the percentage area in the pop-up dialog and click OK. 3. Then we can uncheck Value to make the data label display as percentages. So far, we have learned 3 common column charts. Each of them has pros and cons. Their obvious shortcoming is that representing too many data series will cause disorders. If you need to present many categories of data while the axis title is long, the bar chart might be the best option since it can be put out horizontally, so there is much room to put names. This makes up for the shortage of column charts. Similar to column charts, bar charts also have three types: clustered bar, stacked bar, and 100% stacked bar. Everything is the same except the column chart is 90% rotated. We won't get into detail. You can flexibly choose the chart types as needed. Now, we'll review what we've learned today. Clustered columns are one of the most frequently used charts. Data discrepancies are reflected in the height of columns. We can highlight data by setting data labels, trend lines, the starting point of the y-axis, and other methods. We can set column size and gaps at series overlap and gap width. Stacked columns and 100% stacked columns can better display data percentage. They can clearly show the containment relationship for categories. The next lesson will teach you line charts and combo charts. They can all display data changes and trends. Stay tuned.